Namaskar, this is Anita Bose from Go Life Story. I'm doing my podcast with a very special friend, Irina Vikichak. And this podcast is all about our life, who we are, and what we are doing in this space. She's from France, but I want to talk more about her. Before that, let's hear from her who she is.
Hello everyone, I'm Irina and I'm very happy to be here today on this podcast with Anita at Go Life Story.
Of course, this has been a wonderful time, I believe, for you in Calcutta. Dear friends, you should know that she has been in Calcutta for quite some time now, and she has been engaging herself into the culture, into the writing world, into other things also. As the podcast will move forward, we will reveal how multi-talented Irina is. So, how do you feel being in Calcutta?
First of all, I feel at home here. It's been quite a ride already. It's been more than 3.5 years that me and my family are here in Kolkata. So my son growing up here, he grew up here, practically his same age as I was staying in Kolkata. He speaks Hindi, Bengali, enjoys eating rice with his hands and so on. But also myself, I found my place and my people here. It's been quite intense, and I'm very happy that I managed to fit in a way and to find how to make my stay here meaningful.
Right. I know that you have been exploring the city through your words, through your visiting many places. So what do you have to tell about the city?
So I am a creative person myself. I'm a writer and a poet, and I just like to explore creativity. And after I use this knowledge to mentor my creative writing students. And what I feel in Kolkata from the very beginning is that the city is it's perfect for a creative person because it's so stimulating and it's so diverse. And every day, like I leave my house and I know that I'm going to bump into some maybe small discovery or something that will make an impression on me, something that will that I will find beautiful or interesting or astounding in a way that it's a completely different side of life that I know. So I think the city is creatively stimulating. I think it has unending possibilities of small daily discoveries, also lots of big ones. And I think it's a city of really warm people. I really feel welcome here. And I've lived in several places around the globe, and I have to tell you that nowhere in the world it was so easy to make new friends than here.
Yes, of course. They say that Calcutta is soulful, it has a soul of its own. Would you tell us about one particular place which you visited and you would just love to visit probably again?
So I have one place in Kolkata, which is like my favorite place, and one place outside of Kolkata.
Okay.
So the first place is I realized I know this place a lot when for the first time I took a friend who was visiting. I took as a guide. I was like, oh, this city is now my city, my home city, because I'm taking my friends around, and I really love Umbertoli as a place of very humble, extremely talented people who last time I was there I was just watching this artist was working on the face of the goddess, and he was in such deep meditation. He was so much in awe of the goddess, of the face, of the work. You cannot see this anywhere else because here art, crafts, and worshiping to the divine power is like all same thing. This is what it's all magical.
We do call Umbertoli the magical place, of course. It's beautiful, yes. Let's talk to her another part, which is a talent and of course a born thing, being an author. Like the words that come to you, the books that you have been working on. So when did it start, journey? How do you take it forward?
My journey, I remember very clearly my very first poem, which I wrote. I was 12 years old, and it was something about the moon. And it's a good poem. It was still after so many years. I can say it's a good poem. But that moment was magical in at some point I just felt one with the moon, with the sky, with my own soul, and the poem came from somewhere in its entirety. And still, I'm very happy when poems come to me. There are periods in my life that they come more often, more intensely, and there are of course periods in my life that, okay, this is on pause. Lots of poems, they came to me through pain, through intense worry, fear, like emotions which we tag as negative. But poetry has helped me a lot to deal with many things. For a very long time, in fact, I was asking myself questions, what can I do for poetry? I was working as director of poetry festivals, meeting lots of international poets, and I was like, oh, I should stop writing poetry because what's the point? Everyone has written, all the best poetry is already written. What can I contribute to the world of poetry, the world of literature? I should stop writing poems. And then I stopped, and then I found myself that the poems would still come to me, like in the middle of whatever I was doing. Like, remember I was doing this Excel file and budget and numbers, and then suddenly I started writing a poem in the Excel file, and then I get numbers, and then I realized, why am I denying something that is part of me? But now I reverse this question. The question now is what poetry can do for me.
Yes.
And it can do a lot. And this question is the question. The first version of the question is the question which comes from Eva. And this question, what poetry can do for me, I think it's a question of love to poetry, to art in general. And I think everyone can profit from poetry. Everyone who is a tiny bit spiritual, tiny bit open and sensitive to words. I believe that words are magic.
Absolutely.
From prehistoric times, I should be as a poet.
Yeah. Absolutely. There are like 3 layers, I believe. Like we are born as a poet and we see the world in different ways. Wisdom is like given to us like a heritage, like you have it. And then when we inherit that, then the world sometimes tells us that, well, poetry and poets do not contribute to economy at all. But then slowly we realize that no, that's not it. We have a duty, and the duty is exactly what we are doing. She in her area, and I am doing my area, and it's beautiful, of course, this journey. You have been teaching in college, right? Can you just tell us a bit about that?
I've been teaching something most of my grown-up life. So I was teaching at university after I graduated, but at the same time I was organizing a poetry festival. And then, someone invited me to give a course in Jagiellonian University in Poland, and then something else. And now I'm finishing my PhD journey, and during your PhD studies, you have to teach something. So last year, they asked me, okay, maybe this year you can teach in the Department of English, and it's the Wrocław University in Poland. And then but you have to make up your own course, something about English culture, or okay. I don't feel connected. I mean, it's my master's studies, but I don't feel connected to that culture. And I'm now in India, and as a reader, discovering Indian literature in English mainly, because others is not unfortunately accessible to me. But I might discuss about women's perspective on the post-colonial context through literature, Indian literature in English. And now I have about 20 students. They are Polish students and Erasmus students from all over Europe, and they love it, and they just are so happy to learn anything about India, And I think the best way to learn through the world, except for traveling, because traveling does not always work, is literature. Literature just tells personal stories which speak directly to our heart. They share experiences about which we will not read in the newspapers or so in the news or in the history books, And I think literature is unreplaceable and very powerful source in our life.
Absolutely.
And even for people who don't consider themselves as lovers of literature, it has its place in everyone's life.
Yes. And just like the characters from literature, they play so many different versatile roles. Irina has so many roles to play, and you have been part of poetry festivals across the globe, right? So how would you like to tell us a few things about that?
Oh wow. So recently I've been going, no actually I've been in October I went to Germany to the Frankfurt Fair, but I've been trying to participate in poetry festivals in India. But for many years, for more than 10, 12 years right now, I feel like poetry festivals are like my element because it's my safe space. And it'll tell you why, because when you come to a poetry festival, you meet like-minded people in a way that people whose mind functions very similar to yours. Yeah, so it's always like you did your brothers and sisters in some way.
Yes.
In some way. But also you learn about reality, you learn about the country. And for example, I've noticed that when I travel out on trips, like for example, a festival in Berlin, in Germany, or anywhere else, like in Europe, Western Europe, poetry events are small events. They are for a very small segment of people. They can have like 10, 15, 20, 30 maybe maximum of people who come to poetry events. But if you go to like South American countries or people, I remember this festival in Medellin, in Colombia, and life there is hard. But at the opening and closing ceremony, it was held in like in an open air, huge amphitheater, like a stadium size. We had maybe 6 or 8,000 listeners of poetry, and all these people, they were really listening to poetry, 5 languages and in translation into Spanish, and it was quite eye-opening. And people are treated in South America, poets are treated as like national heroes. If they see you as the badge poet, they would just go up to you, talk to you, and like show their respect. And this is magical.
Absolutely, this is absolutely magical.
Special, like on global scale, is something I just love going there. Not only for the nature, which is so special, so unique, but also for how people live like this traditional lifestyle in this harsh environment, which it's not easy to live there. But people love that environment, and they learn to live there. This is what they have, and I think this is quite sacred. People stay in the land where they learn how to live for generations. I think it's something really.
So like when you came to Calcutta in India, for the first time, did you like face this cultural shock, or did you also at the same time find some balance in the cultural elements of your place at this place?
So when I first arrived, I did not start mingling immediately because my son was just born, so I was taking care of him. But after some months, yes, first of all, I found the group of these expert ladies amazing, KWC.
Yes, of course.
So they kind of helped me to get integrated, get to know Kolkata in many ways. But also started going down and meeting people when it became possible. Yes, so as for cultural difference, and of course there was some culture shock, some time for adaptation. But what I think was adaptation was feeling like I was overstimulated, with colors, with new food, new flavors, new ways of doing things, maybe adaptation is called adaptation because your brain is working so hard to pay attention to all the details and making sense of things and getting used to them. But now everything around me is normal for me. So
yes, it can be seen, of course. And so many things you've done in the city. I think you take a lot of memories with you.
Sure.
As I was saying, how multi-talented she is. She has also lingered around and stepped into the world of fashion. Let's talk about that. So how did that happen, and how do you feel about it?
So I was never modeling professionally, but I do have experience with it. and also because some reason people are just dividing women into smart, either smart or beautiful. So I was raised in a way which led me to be with the smart ones. So I was not sure how to fit in both, you know. But this is so wrong. I think women, girls, they should have the freedom to be many things, to be whatever they want to be smart and beautiful, to have a degree and a career in modeling, to wear dresses and be taken seriously and build their career at the same time. You know, it's fun, or be mothers and build their career. Like, why does the world put us in front of the choice? Either this or this. Either you are a mother or you have a career. Either you are a model or you are a scientist or a PhD. I think the world, especially nowadays, has so many possibilities and so many opportunities to make our life easier in one thing or another. But at the same time, I think we should educate men also to accept women as we are.
Yes, absolutely.
All my friends, all the women that I know, they have so much powerful energy inside. They can do everything. But of course, if there are societies like suppressing us and having us not suppress this energy, this suppressed energy starts becoming toxic for us. This should not be like this. I think every girl, every woman has to find the courage to accept all this powerhouse of energy that we have inside us, and all our ambitions, and all our talents, and be many things. The human mind, I think, is working in this way, that we have to categorize everything. So, okay, this person is this person is this, and this person is this. And when someone is going out of this box, it makes us uncomfortable, but it's our problem, not that person who is trying to get out of the box. So I think we should not feel guilty for getting out of the box. Right?
So here, let's hear a message from her for the young ladies growing up in the city and across the world. One message from you to them.
Just what I said. You can be many things. Accept all your talents, accept all your dreams, all your ambitions, and you don't have to be only one thing.
Right.
Be everything you want to be. Try different things. Also, we probably learn a lot of our talents and our dreams by trying things, trying different experiences, right? How do you know if you are good at drawing if you never tried, right? Or good at dancing if you never tried? So we should be free. Also, we should feel free and guilty free and shame free to be a beginner in something, to allow yourself to learn new things and get bad at it. But probably the most important criteria is if you're enjoying it, if it gives you value, if it brings you healing, maybe, if it brings you, maybe it brings value to the others, not only to you.
Absolutely. Trying different things is so important. But with that, let's go to another thing that she has done in the city, and that is acting in a film. Wow, she did that. So yes, what was the experience?
I had a small part in the film, and actually I was always very restrained when it comes to the movies, to acting, to act. When I was in school, I used to act on the stage. I didn't act at school. But this was a short film with and the location was in our premises. So I was invited to take part in it. And what happened is I really surprised myself.
Yes.
Because I could memorize the lines just before stepping in the frame, I would memorize the lines like that. And then I watched the result. I was like, that was not that bad for a first time, And this was fun to learn, for example, how to do dubbing or how to do, just how everything works. I've watched film shootings. I've watched, how it all works closely before film promotions and so on. To be an actor in this frame, it was quite fun, and what I really enjoyed discovering that I can do also that.
Irina is a power bomb. She does so many things. Her
How
house,
do you
her
do?
family. Yeah, look, and she's so humble, and that's the beautiful thing about her. She's so amazing. Her soul is like shining star, and you have inspired so many people. I know, of course, I know you for a long time now. She's my best friend actually, and yes, of course. But I know that you have touched many hearts, and many people are very close to you. And do you have just anything else to share with us on this podcast? Anything that you want to talk to us about? Tell us.
Yes, I think so. I think I want to share my reflections on the world today. So recently, all of the attention, especially in the Western world, like back in Europe, everyone would wake up in the morning and the first thing check the news to see what this old man somewhere on the other continent had to say that morning, which was not always very adequate things to say. But what India showed me is that the world does not end between two old men, narcissistic men with lots of other problems and complexes who are trying to decide the fate of the world. The world does not finish there. There are so many other sides of the world, right? There are so many stories, there are so many places which are much different from that, which do not which are not part of it. And I even wrote like a long video at the social media. Like a lot of people. The world is not just those two persons. Just look around you. We are too much addicted to telephones, to the feed, to screens, to the immediate circulation of information globally. Our brains are not wired to consume so much information. We are not. It's not in our nature to know what is happening so far away immediately. Going back in those times, the news was traveling for months. Now it's like we are overwhelmed with information, and less we're just taking into consideration our immediate environment. And our immediate environment is something that we can control, we can influence, that we can, I can help like the person next to me, but I cannot help someone who's so much far away. We should be more present. We should look more with our own eyes and not through the lenses.
Yes, very camera. We should always know what's going on and we should do the experiment. It was really amazing talking to you here, at this moment, and I'm sure that we're going to remember this conversation for a very, very long time. And okay, so